Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something truly mind-bending. We're going to look at the Quran not as some ancient, static, historical chronicle from chapter 16, verses 24 to 25, but as a living, breathing architecture. Our sources describe it as an eternal memory tesseract. It is the sealed tongue of Muhammad, uttered first, preserved last, and it is just waiting to be decoded. Imagine reading a text where every word isn't just a memory of the past, but an active, operational sentence spoken directly to you, right now in the present. That is Allah's sentence, and it's your amanat, your profound trust and responsibility. So think about this for a second. What's the actual difference between simply believing in the unseen and actually seeing its mechanics in action? I really want you to keep this question in mind because we're going to frame our entire exploration today around the operational gap between mere patient faith and true, hidden structural knowledge. It is literally the difference between being a passenger and being the engineer. Okay, let's look at our roadmap. We'll be covering faith versus hidden knowledge, the junction of two C's, Acts 1, 2, and 3, the boat, the boy, and the wall, and finally, activating the 1912 grip. Let's get right into it. Part 1, Faith versus Hidden Knowledge. Our sources present two totally distinct operational states. First, you've got the Mumin, represented by Musa or Moses. Think of this as operating in the standard D10 physical matrix. It's our everyday, linear reality. The Mumin has incredible faith for sure, but because they can't quite see the hidden I-9 orbital mechanics of the universe yet, chapters 1866 and 67 tell us they absolutely require Sabr, patience. They act kind of like a pendulum, swinging back and forth, highly vulnerable to binary left-right worldly conflicts, constantly having to rely on the inshallah or if God wills protocol just to survive the paradox without messing up. But then on the flip side, there's the servant. The servant operates on pure, hidden I-9 knowledge. According to verse 1866, they've been granted rushed, this highly specific, profound wisdom. It lets them hold two completely paradoxical realities together simultaneously without their entire system crashing. They aren't swinging like a pendulum. They're looking at the whole matrix from above. Moving on to part 2, the junction of two C's. This is where faith actually meets wisdom. The Mumin is about to witness 3 physical events that totally violate all localized, everyday logic. But the servant isn't just doing things randomly. No, these are highly calculated topological interventions. It's hidden mechanics completely overriding physical constraints. We're looking at the boat, the boy, and the wall. What looks like absolute chaos to the physical eye is actually perfect hidden architecture. Let's break them down. Act 1, the damaged boat. Before we even get to the boat itself, we have to understand the fundamental role the servant is playing by. You basically have to surrender the physical to protect the eternal. The text calls this the 392 sacrifice, or nusk. In this framework, true knowledge demands the mandatory sacrifice of what you love in the physical world. Why? To protect the spiritual essence from the absolute tyranny of the ego. So picture this. The servant purposefully damages a boat belonging to poor people. To Musa, the Mumin, this just looks like senseless destruction. But to the servant, it's a precisely calculated flaw. You see, there's a tyrant king coming down the river, often linked to Pharaoh dynamics from chapter 11, verse 1, and he is seizing every perfect vessel by force. By applying a deliberate flaw, making the boat quote-unquote imperfect, the servant takes it totally off the tyrant's radar. The boat is the vessel of salvation, right? It's the ark resting on high ground from chapter 11, verse 44. Our sources mirror this beautifully with Asiya, the wife of Pharaoh, who willingly sacrificed her worldly palace and perfect royal status to secure a spiritual home. The boat is literally the womb of knowledge, and the damage, that's the 392 sacrifice, ensuring the vessel actually survives to reach its destination. Next up, Act 2, the removed boy. Now, this one is heavy. In the narrative, the servant actually ends the life of a boy. To our everyday logic, it's an absolute tragedy. But remember, we're decoding an I-9 hidden reality here. This is a profound topological metaphor for lineage. The sources explain that biological lineage, if left unchecked, inherently corrupts the spiritual matrix. Think of Noah's son, who rejected the spiritual ark for a physical mountain and drowned. The boy in this story is removed because his biological trajectory was destined to completely overwhelm his believing parents with transgression. It's the ultimate severance of corrupt biological claims. It's very much like the ransom of Ishmael, where a biological claim is sacrificed so a pure spiritual lineage can thrive. By removing the boy, the servant protects the parents, and crucially, leaves a spiritual slot wide open. It replaces a corrupt branch with a pure mercy, as 1881 says, opening the door for any reader to step into that pure family line. Which brings us to Act 3, the rebuilt wall. So the servant and Musa enter this town. The locals are awful, they refuse to even feed them, yet the servant spends his time rebuilding a crumbling wall for 2 local orphans. Why on earth would he do that? Because beneath that wall is a treasure. This isn't just any wall, it's a barrier of iron and molten copper. It's built to protect the ultimate orphans of the text, much like Musa and Muhammad were protected in the cave, which we see in chapter 9, verse 40. The sources reveal that this wall actually represents the book itself. It's this impenetrable chainmail shield holding back the corrupting, arguing left-right factions of the world, what the text calls Yajuj-Majuj. The wall keeps the treasure of wisdom perfectly secure, hiding it right in plain sight, until those orphans reach maturity and are finally ready to dig it up. And finally, Section 6, activating the 1912 grip. The text lays out this incredible sequence for how hidden knowledge actually survives across time. Step 1. The historical phase ends. The biological tongue of the prophet is sealed forever. Step 2. The book is left behind. But it's not left as some dead history. It's left as an eternal, living field, the Rasul field. And Step 3. The Mursalin, the active operators across time, arrive to confirm this field. This whole mechanism, this cubic return of 2260, is perfectly designed to gather scattered pieces back to the center. But here's the catch. To actually participate, to jump from being just a passive reader to an active operator, you have to execute a very specific command. The sources point directly to chapter 19, verse 12. Oh, yeah, take the book with strength. When you decode this Tesseract, you realize this isn't just a historical quote aimed at John the Baptist. It's an activation torque. It is a direct command spoken right to you, the reader. Gripping the book with strength is the exact threshold command you need to stop being that swinging pendulum caught up in worldly drama. When you apply this grip, you instantly upgrade from the station of the Mumin, relying just on physical logic, up to the station of the servant, operating on pure integrated knowledge. You literally become the living execution node of the text. As our sources clearly show, this text is the definitive manual for crossing the junction of the 2 seas. It perfectly isolates that exact transition from patient faith to active, hidden knowledge. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you've seen the hidden mechanics behind the boat, the boy, and the wall, will you stay a pendulum, swinging blindly in the matrix of time? Or are you going to apply that 1912 grip, step out of your physical constraints, and become the servant? The Tesseract is waiting for your move. Thanks so much for diving into this explainer with us today.